So those of you who have been joining Mark for morning prayer each day will know we've been looking at the book of Exodus over, most of the time we've been doing morning prayer. And I love Exodus. There's loads and loads of brilliant stuff in. But I was just reading one of the bits that we've read in Exodus chapter 33. And at the beginning of Exodus chapter 33, we read that Moses went to the tent of meeting. So he went to this special tent, which was where he met with God, where God lived effectively. But that tent was outside the camp. It wasn't anywhere sort of in and around the people. It was outside of the camp. And when Moses met God in that tent, everybody came outside of their tents and they looked on from afar at Moses meeting with God. And I should think that they were all pretty envious in a way, because Moses got to meet with God himself, which is just extraordinary if you think about it. But they couldn't do that. They could just look on from far away. Now later on in Exodus, God gives Moses the instructions of how to build the tabernacle. The tabernacle was this special tent, and we've been looking at some of it before lockdown in our services on Sunday mornings. The tabernacle was this special tent designed by God. But what happens is the tabernacle moves from Moses only being able to meet with God outside of the camp where everybody looked on, because God was holy and perfect. Now there's this new covenant, there's this promise that God makes with his people. He says, I'm going to be your God and you're going to be my people. And now the tabernacle, this new tent that we see later on in Exodus, moves to the very centre of the camp. The tabernacle moves to the heart of the camp. God is at the heart, the centre of the lives of his people. Now, there's still that separation, because if you know how the tabernacle's built, it's built so that, again, God is separate from the people, because God is holy and set apart, and only the priests can enter and only they can make sacrifices and all the rest of it. But nonetheless, it's that moving from looking on from afar to God being at the centre and at the heart of everything. Now, I wonder if you feel like you're looking on from afar at what God is doing. Maybe you're not a Christian. Maybe you're watching these videos and you have never really thought about God or about church or anything like that before. Certainly not thought about what Christians believe. Maybe you kind of are watching some of the videos that are available online during lockdown, and you feel like you're looking on from afar, from outside. Well, you see, the brilliant thing about knowing Jesus and becoming a Christian is God comes and isn't at the heart, the centre of the camp. No, God is at the heart and the centre of us who trust and believe in Jesus. We're looking at Romans 8 in our Sunday morning series at the moment. And what we're going to look at in the next few weeks, we're going to see that God by his Spirit comes and lives in the hearts of every single believer. So we don't look on from afar. We don't look on from outside. We're not separated from God. We can't really be part of that. Actually, for every believer now, since the cross, has God's Spirit living inside them. God is at the heart of the lives and the being of every single believer. That's just an amazing and a wonderful truth, isn't it? As the tent moves from the outside of the camp to the inside of the camp with the tabernacle, God being in the heart of his people, now God goes from being still outside because you have to make all the sacrifices, and God being holy and separate and us being sinful and we can't know God, to through Jesus we can know God personally. Not only that, but we have the Spirit of God living in us. God's Holy Spirit living in us. God, holy, powerful, mighty. God, creator of all of this universe, God the one who rules everything, God the one who judges everything justly and rightly, God the one who loves us so much that he was willing to send his Son down to earth. He's willing to send his Son and send his Holy Spirit into our lives so that we might know him and have him living in our hearts. That's brilliant, isn't it? And if you aren't a Christian, if you are looking in at this, why don't you look in a bit more? Why don't you watch some more of the videos that we've got on our St. Bot's website? Why don't you email the office, and the office will put you in touch with one of us, one of the clergy or one of the leaders at St. Botolph's, and we'd love to talk with you some more. But isn't that brilliant? God comes to live in our hearts. What a great truth. Hope you have a really great day.